ladies and germs, we got a football game to talk about. This was barely a football game this Sunday that happened. Steelers week, which is much more exciting than what we saw on Sunday here, but we're going to talk about the Giants first, since we saw it. So Giants and the Ravens last Sunday were in the Meadowlands, 35-14. This was all Ravens all the time in this one. There was pretty much no resistance from the Giants. As much as I'm the Ravens guy and I'm supposed to be talking about how good the Ravens looked, how good Lamar looked, et cetera, all that's fine. The Giants just look bad. I mean, that didn't even look like an NFL team on Sunday. I mean, that looked like, XFL or UFL or high school or something going against an NFL team. That's how bad the Giants looked in that football game on Sunday. I mean, it was that pathetic. So let's go ahead and talk about it though. The Ravens were good, obviously. I mean, they won by 35-14. So that's always all good when that happens. So what do they look like? Lamar Jackson, another Jackson 5. Not talking about Tito and Jermaine. We call that Jackson 5 when Lamar has 5 touchdown passes in this game, which he did again. Guys were wide open. This was about as good as I've seen receivers look for the Ravens during the course of a season. I mean, really playing well down the stretch, really actually getting good play from them all season long. Zay Flowers is probably the best receiver that we've had here in the last 7 or 8 years, really since Steve Smith retired. That's how good Zay Flowers is. So Zay Flowers was terrific in this game. I thought Rashard Bateman had some great catches. Nelson Aguilar had a fantastic catch in this one. So I thought the receiving core, not just Mark Andrews and company, the whole receiving core, I thought was really, really good in this game here this week. Derrick Henry, some saying he's slowing down. I don't know about that. Derrick Henry, 14 for 67 yards per, down a bit compared to where he started as well. I'm not worried about Derrick Henry. I mean, it's not. It's a little bit of a concern, but it's. People are saying that maybe because he's a 30-year-old, which is some concern that he's wearing down. But Derrick Henry has been fantastic all year long. So good job by Derrick Henry. I think it also could be they're rationing him as well for the stretch run. It could be that they're not going as hard, because we still have playoff games that are coming up probably, et cetera. So you do have to go ahead and ration him a little bit. But the talk of we're so worried about him and his energy and all that, I'm just not as worried about Derrick Henry as some of you are. This was probably the best day I've seen in a pro career for Rashard Bateman on Sunday. 2 terrific catches for Bateman, I thought, in the end zone. Lamar found him. I think Bateman just got to be more consistent as a number 1 receiver. That's the only thing missing like that. He runs great routes. He's a great route runner. He moves very well. I got really no problem with Bateman. The way he plays, just got to keep him healthy on the field, which he's been doing. At times, he does seem to get lost, but he was terrific on Sunday. Again, but no resistance really from the Giants at all in this one. I mean, they didn't put up anything as far of a fight statistically, but good stuff by Rashard Bateman. But I think the whole receiving core was terrific in this one. Kyle Hamilton. Oh, that's wrong. Right? Kyle Hamilton had 6 tackles in this one. So Kyle was really good, I think, on Sunday. This is your guy. I think him and Matabuke are kind of the linchpin guys along with Roquan Smith. Kyle, I think, looks much more comfortable with moving at Darius Washington into the starting lineup. I think without Marcus Williams there, who didn't play at all, like who was benched, they got rid of Eddie Jackson. As far as that goes, but Kyle Hamilton, I thought was really good. Again, Giants offense just nothing on Sunday as well. What did the Giants offense do? Man, Tim Boyle came in the game, right? So Tim Boyle was Tommy DeVito went out of the game with an injury. I think it was a concussion that he had. So the backup quarterback came in, Tim Boyle. I think they're down to their fourth quarterback as well. Stats didn't look super terrible, in my opinion. I mean, they looked okay-ish relatively, but that guy's not an NFL quarterback, Tim Boyle. At best, he's, a career backup, I think. But, Tim Boyle is just not the guy to go ahead and lead you anywhere. But this is what the Giants are left with as well. Probably got the stat up there. 12 for 24, one TD, one INT. Nothing there for that. They had pretty much no run game as well. Ravens really stopped the run. They've been doing well enough with that pretty much all season long, stopping the run game, not getting a lot of push up front. I thought the defensive line was really good. Michael Pierce looked really good on Sunday. 10 for 31 was Tracy in this one. Tyrone Tracy. Get that up there. 10 for 31, Tyrone Tracy. Again, not much on the ground, I thought as well, if anything. The one guy who did show me a lot as far as the Giants was Malik Neighbors. They were feeding him the ball, and they should. He's an NFL #1 receiver. There's no question about it. He was easy, the best player on their offense as well. 10 receptions, 82 yards for Malik Neighbors. I thought he was really, really good on Sunday as well. I thought, even with the double coverage he was getting for the most part, where the Ravens were pretty much double covering him a lot, they basically couldn't really handle the Ravens had a tough day. Brandon Stevens is really scuffling at times, man. Just his coverage is always good, but he can't find the ball. That's the thing. I definitely think Marlon should have been on him more as well in this one. So definitely keep that in mind. Brian Burns, I think, did have a sack. I think he was the best player without Dexter Lawrence in there as well. I thought the Ravens offense was totally dominant. They were totally non-existent on the other side. Giants, just a huge talent deficit in this one. No chance for the Giants to really have any resistance against the Baltimore Ravens. 35-14. Ravens, this is just what the doctor ordered. Come back off of a bye, late bye. This is exactly what John Harbaugh and the fans would have wanted. Game like this where they go ahead and win. And the Giants are just on the clock. Sorry, Giants fans. A lot of work to be done. I don't know if Dayball is going to be there or not. Getting my drink. I don't know if Dayball is going to be there or not. I think he might be a good coach, but big talent deficit. Giants, obviously the only team in the NFC on the road to beat the Ravens. So there you go. And now it's Steelers week. So we got a game Saturday on Fox, not on Sunday. Saturday afternoon, 4:30, M&T Bank Stadium. The Ravens and the Steelers. This is for all the marbles, as they say in the old days. First place in the AFC North. The Ravens win. They are in a first place tie with the Steelers. The Steelers pretty much can clinch the division, I think, with a win. They would effectively be 3 games ahead of the Ravens. with record-wise and with the tiebreaker, Ravens would not be winning the division. Ravens still would be behind the Steelers even with a win, but they would be in an absolute tie in the first place. The Steelers would have to lose one of the last two games, and the Ravens have to finish ahead of them. That would be much more likely, because especially with the Steelers playing the Chiefs next week. So let's take a look at the Ravens. Lamar Jackson. I think I don't know where this stuff is coming from that Josh Allen is way ahead of Lamar Jackson in the MVP voting. To me, that doesn't make any sense. I think the only thing you can really say is the record of the Bills a little bit better than the Ravens. I'll hear that argument, but all the stats are pointing in Lamar Jackson's stat. I think definitely, to me, I think the MVP race, it is going to matter the last 2 weeks. I think last year Lamar won it on that Monday night game on Christmas night. So I think this game this year, these last 2 weeks are going to determine it here as well. But I don't think the race is over by any stretch. Bills and Ravens still have more work to do. Saquon, I think, is still in it. Derrick Henry, not as much at this point. But Derrick Henry has been terrific this season. So you're saying he's wearing down, right? 1,500 yards, 13 TDs. Fantastic for Derrick Henry. I think it's been a phenomenal signing. Not so worried a little bit about the carries, but is he wearing down? I don't think so. I think I'm going to give a guy like this, a Hall of Fame, potential future Hall of Famer, a little more credit than that he's going to be fine going down the stretch here. I think Henry is going to be key in this game. Why? The Ravens have trouble. Lamar's had trouble against the Steelers. What can Lamar do better than anyone else against anybody? Get the edge. So he has trouble getting the edge. So that means Derrick Henry is going to be more important. They're going to run the ball more. They're going to do a little bit more running the football. That is going to be imperative in this one. Zay Flowers, 66 receptions, 916. He may break over that 1,000-yard barrier this Saturday. I was going to say it. This Saturday. I think this is a favorable matchup against the Steelers corners as well. I think Joey Porter has been kind of decent this year, kind of up and down. Flowers and Bateman, I think, is a good matchup against the Steelers corners. And this one, offensively, the Ravens receivers, I think this is the best receiver group I've seen the Ravens have in total in many years. This might be the best group they've ever had as far as receiver production since the 96 season, the first initial year. Everybody forgets the 96 season, where they had – the reason why we had such good defense, when we got the franchise in 96, we had productive offense. Testaverde, Michael Jackson, Derek Alexander on offense. So, hey, man, we need to help these guys on defense. The defense was bad. And the rest is history. Became the greatest defense of all time. This offensive group is actually playing well. Ravens defense, way better the last few weeks. Much more solid the last few weeks. Kyle Van Noy, 9 sacks as well. Love Kyle Van Noy. Kyle Van Noy, I'm sure John Harbaugh is going to have nothing but good things to say about Kyle Van Noy. Set the edge. That's what he does well. He gets sacks, but he goes ahead. He contains the edge. Guys can't get outside of him as well. Stops the run well. Does a lot of things well on the outside. Kyle Van Noy, 9 sacks over the season. Oweh, I think, is at about 8. Matabuke, about 6.5. I think he's at 5. A lot of double teams Matabuke is getting. The biggest thing, the pass defense has gotten much better. Pass rush has been solid, not spectacular, all season. Russell Wilson really revitalized the Steelers' offense this season when they made the change for Justin Fields. A little bit controversial. A lot of people didn't question it, but it's really worked. I think the Steelers' offense is very pedestrian, in my opinion. There's not a lot of great dynamics in the offense. Russell is giving him at least the deep ball. That's helping, so I think that's a good thing. So Russell is not going ahead and doing a whole lot. He's going ahead and getting the deep ball there. Sorry about that. So Russell getting the deep ball as well. I think it's definitely an upgrade over Justin Fields. I don't think their offense is spectacular in any form. I'm not a fan of Najee Harris. Not a fan of Najee Harris. He can run the ball with power. I think that's what he does. I think had this been football in the 80s, everybody was saying how great Najee Harris is because he can run the ball with power. He can run the ball up the middle. He can run over people. He does that very well. He doesn't really catch the ball out of the backfield well. I'm not a big Najee Harris guy in any sense. I think like Jerome Warren, I think they have a good tandem as well, but I think they do need to run the football. I think that's kind of why I feel their offense is kind of pedestrian. I'm not in love with their running attack there. George Pickens, I think, is their best offensive player. Very dynamic. Bit of a head case, giving a lot of Steelers fans heartache. Sometimes he complains about touches. That's common of a wide receiver. Complain about touches. We'll get to Deontay Johnson, of course, in a second. But complain about touches. Tremendous speed and route run. Guys I've seen him like the last couple of years. Guys have a hard time staying with George Pickens on offense. Pickens, I think, is an outstanding wide receiver for them. I think he's been aided a lot by having Russell throwing the deep ball. This is the guy I think that's benefited the most from the quarterback change from Justin Fields. TJ Watt, don't know if he's going to play. He's probably going to try and play through an ankle injury as well, twisted his ankle. This defense looks much different without Watt and his dominance on the field. So TJ Watt, I think, is so dominant as well. It'll be interesting to see how he looks. We know how great he is. 11 and a half sacks. He gets triple teamed a lot. So definitely we will see how that goes as well. Who gets the X in this one? X factor. I already talked about Derrick Henry. Some people saying you're wearing down. Some people saying that not the same as well. They're definitely going to need to run with power with the Steelers' ability to go ahead and cover those edges, those rush lanes for Lamar so he can't get all those wide open looks. And they're very good at staying in the zone and staying in the lanes. So a good way to combat that is to use Derrick Henry as well. I think there is good, favorable matchup for the Ravens running on the left side. As we know, right side has been having problems all season long. Brandon Stevens. I don't want to see too much of him on George Pickens. I don't know why they seem to be not putting Marlon, and maybe somebody correct me. They seem to not be putting Marlon one-on-one on the best receiver a lot. I'm noticing that a lot. They're using Stevens more on whoever the best receiver. They could be using the whole Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick was famous for that. I'm going to put my best receiver on the number 2 guy, and I'm going to put my best corner on the number 2 guy, and then just run coverage to the other side, and then do double coverage on the other side. I don't know if that's what they're doing. I think teams are playing too much zone anyway in the league. Man-to-man, I think the Ravens do much better with man-to-man. So we will see that. But Stevens, they're going to be going straight for him. I saw it definitely in the last game. Even the Giants, they were definitely attacking Brandon Stevens. I think the Ravens actually take this game. Steelers are a bit banged up. They're actually, we don't know if they're going to have TJ Watt in this game at all. We don't know about a couple of guys for them. I don't think the Ravens going to absolutely have to play with the sense of urgency in this one. So just looking at it now, Watt is off the injury report. He is going to play as well. Pickens might not play with the hamstring there, so he didn't practice. So we're seeing that, looking at that now. Dante Jackson, Deshaun Elliott, doubtful. Deshaunte Jackson, questionable. Deshaun Elliott. So we'll see. A little banged up. It's getting late in the season. We will see what's going on here. Ravens, I think, win the game pretty handily. I think they have the superior offense and should beat the Squealers.